Could be a run out.
Should be a run out of the bowler's end. He's a run out of the bowler's end. That is simply magnificent.
What a catch! Their first wicket in the ECL, and what a way to...
Hello and welcome to the European Cricket League Studio Project, episode 19 with me, Michael McCann, back with you again on a Monday as part of the Facebook Live move at 9 p.m. Central European Time. Wherever you are in the world, it's fantastic to have you with us. We've got news of cricket possibly re-emerging relatively soon in Europe. Keep an eye out for the Dream 11 European Cricket Series for that. And tonight we speak to the Iceland cricket guy. Yes, you did hear me correctly. The Iceland cricket guy, Kip Harris. We've also got Shahd, who was the lyrical genius or part of the lyrical genius team and the singer of the ECL anthem, who's going to give us a live performance of that later on. So don't be going anywhere for the next hour, wherever you are. We also want to get your comments and questions in for any of our guests or any of your views on European cricket in general. Your support and your spreading and sharing of this show is thoroughly appreciated and getting it around the grassroots of the European cricket community. But without any further ado, let's get our first guest in. His name is Kip Harris, but I introduced him as the Iceland cricket guy. He's certainly got the gear on, as you can see, and the microphone holder to even match. So Kip Harris, beyond being just the Iceland cricket guy, who exactly are you?
Beyond it, well, not much. I mean, I'm a former club cricketer of decent standard, but what am I? I'm Iceland's only cricket writer and broadcaster. That's what I am. By virtue. Beg pardon?
I was just saying it's quite a USP to have that. It certainly looks different on a business card.
I don't think it is a USP. Most things which come from it's unique, but I don't think it's an SP. Most things from Iceland have that air of uniqueness or strangeness about them, but it doesn't necessarily make them popular. That sums me up.
So how did you end up in Iceland? How did you end up playing for Iceland? How did you end up becoming the guy who embodies cricket in Iceland?
I was a glaciologist in Iceland when I was studying for university. I did some field work in Iceland and kind of fell in love with glaciers, that is, not with any rubbish like the opposite sex or anything like that. And then I started working in Iceland a few years ago as part of a travel company. And working in Iceland and being able to play cricket is usually your passport to centrality in the national team. Well, maybe not centrality in my case, but certainly a key peripheral part on the field.
We should clarify, of course, for those maybe tuning in thinking of a certain discount UK supermarket store, that A, other supermarkets are available, and B, no, we really are talking about the country of Iceland here. This isn't some kind of like work supermarket cricket team that's got taken out of proportion. But
Michael, Iceland Foods PLC, the UK supermarket, not only has a few branches in Iceland, because obviously, why wouldn't you? But they had a very long-running trademark dispute with the European Union, fighting the Republic of Iceland for the right to use exclusively the name Iceland on manufactured food products. And for several years, no Icelandic company was allowed to export any foods into the Eurozone that contained the word Iceland, because Iceland Foods PLC had taken out an exclusive trademark.
I have to say, of all the places I thought our conversation would go at any point, never mind in the first 5 minutes, this wasn't necessarily where, but we're here now. So in the end, I presume Iceland were allowed to, as the country, were allowed to still call themselves Iceland.
Yeah, we wanted
the whole heritage ripped away by a supermarket.
When we started the company, we did get a letter from Iceland Foods obliging us legally to guarantee that we would not try to sell any food in Europe. I'm not kidding you. In the end, Iceland won in the European courts. It won the right to use its own name.
What a victory that must have been.
It's as much as any country can hope for, isn't it? Really,
it is the right to never mind compete under that banner, but use its own name. But of course, you have actually competed for Iceland. So, just what was that like to have the opportunity, as someone who, by his own admission, is a relatively club cricketer standard, to represent your country?
Yeah, well, it was a kind of a poison chalice in a way, because the opportunity, it was quite clear that I was only ever going to get called upon in the event of serious injuries or problems with everyone else in the squad. This was in the Malta quadrangular tournament of 2020 internationals last October. Inevitably, of course, those injuries did take place, and I was selected for my international debut in the match against Hungary. And I knew I'd already resolved at the start of the game that I would at least clinch one international record. Nothing to do with bowling or cricketing ability, but the record that I had my eye on was the shortest international career. So as soon as I was selected, I announced my debut, and as soon as the game finished, I announced my international retirement. So that record at least is mine. The less said about the over I bowled, the better, frankly.
Well, you say the less said about the over. That's just too inviting for me to ask you. Let's go through it ball by ball, shall we? What happened?
But you're right, ball by ball. First ball.
I mean, you are a cricket commentator as well, Kit. So if anyone can take us through it and paint the picture, I'm sure you can.
First ball, leg stump, half volley on the batsman's pads. He's picked it up over deep mid wicket for 6. One of the biggest sixes I've ever been hit for. Lost ball into a building site, good best part of 100 meters away. Second ball, attempted the same shot, came off the inside edge, went to deep mid wicket, 1 run. Next ball, decent length ball on middle stump, just flicked to backward square leg for 1 run. So I've gone for 8 off the first 3, but 6-1-1. So I'm starting to get into it a bit, right? A couple of singles. So now I'm bowling again to the guy who hit me for 6, and he hit me for 6. So I've now gone for 14 off the first ball to the over. This was very much a repeat of the first ball. Massive pickup. Cleared his front leg and swung it over deep mid wicket into the building site again. Then I bowled a kind of sort of full toss, very full on leg stump, and he tried to play the same shot and he missed it. And that set me up for the 6th ball, which was just in the channel. I bowl off breaks, you see, so very, very slow off breaks in the channel, outside off stump. The first ball he really had to play through the offside, and he got a top edge and clicked it into the gloves of the keeper.
So what do we end up with after all of that then? 20 for 1?
We end up with 14 off the over, 6-1-1-6 dot. And I should add that it went straight into the gloves of the keeper and then straight out again. So my last ball in international cricket, and if I'd had an average of 14 in international cricket, which I would have done, had the keeper taken the catch, I'd be trading blows with Rashid Khan. Maybe not on economy, but on strike rate and average. But it wasn't to be, as they say in sports.
So I mean, without meaning to rat the keeper out too much, and
Lee Nelson.
Oh, there we go. Straight out the name.
And he said, I said, Lee's not a man who apologizes. Lee is not a man who does apologies. He's Australian. You know where I'm going with this. Apology is weakness sometimes for the real alphas of the world. And as he walked past me, he just said, oh, shitball.
Apologies for the use of language there, Divya, but I'm sure you can appreciate quite what was on the line there for Mr. Harris and the tensions running high on the field. So you've ended up with 1 over that's gone for 14, and you're denied being an international wicket taker. Yeah,
but it's a better story this way, isn't it?
Yeah, it does feel like cricket is inherently quite a tragic game. And so it feels like a very cricket story that's how it ends, you know?
Yeah, you're right, aren't you? You can't be a massive basketball or ice hockey or football fan without being something of a kind of glory hound. You can big up your achievements. It's like fishermen. We're always saying, well, I caught a fish that was this big. But in cricket, I suppose it being a very archetypal English game, in cricket, the best stories are always the ones that end up in failure. Heroic failure, maybe, but ideally failure. Well, I'm your go-to man on that story.
You did at least, though, have a photographer there to capture a couple of snaps. And is it one of those where maybe in 20 years, once the scorebooks have been lost, and you can sort of retell the story, and it becomes a very different one to that at the time, a bit of spin in the sense of how it's told rather than your bowling, maybe?
The way my mind works, and the way my storytelling goes, is it will be spun, embellished, artistic license, but it will become increasingly negative. The sixes will be bigger. The balls. I mean, didn't bowl a wide, didn't bowl a full toss. I didn't bowl well enough for him, but I didn't bowl badly for a club cricketer. But by the time 20 years' time, there'll be long hops, wides, everything will be a disaster. It's much better told that way. It is the English way.
Yes, it does feel like that's inherently sort of the cricketing vibe. Having said that, though, one of our main kind of features of tonight, so we have a theme for each episode. If you're watching in the comments, thank you. So if you're in the comments, thank you so much for joining us. Please keep getting them fire in any questions, anything you want to say, or if you just want to say hi, which is what most people have been doing in the chat tonight. Shijin Q says greetings from Qatar, one of our very regular viewers in the Middle East. We have a theme of each episode. So last week it was the worst cricketing birthdays ever, or the best, because Piers Fletcher had a solid nomination for a horrendous birthday involving a defeat by 250 runs, driving home on his own, and the hottest curry he'd ever had in 40-degree heat already, which wasn't really the lunch offering that they'd hoped for. Not that curry isn't great, but more just in the context of temperature, it wasn't ideal for Piers, I think it's fair to say. Our theme this week, which is kind of built off you, Kit, is you've just sort of talked about those failures, but it's actually those days where everything went right. And that brings us to this picture. 9 wickets for 1 run. That is correct, I'm told. It's not a forgery, and it is actually a legitimate photo. There hasn't been any use of Photoshop in there. So talk us through it. What happened? Everything went right. And for anyone in the comments, get your comments in with your figures and what happened on the day and how it all worked for you. What was your best cricketing performance of all time?
Yeah, this wasn't a spell. This wasn't like I had gone for 31 runs off 3 overs and then there was a collapse. This was from the first ball to the last ball of the spell. So 6 overs, 5 maidens, 9 wickets for 1 run. And I'd had the yips the week before. You know, that syndrome that golfers talk about. You've just forgotten how to do it, and you sort of awkwardly trot up to the stumps. I don't know how to do it. Everything's going in the wrong direction. And bowled full tosses, bowled 3 overs for 23 the week before. So I said to the keeper, let's have a little practice. If we could turn up an hour before, have a proper bowl. And he helped me out. And the first 2 wickets, one was with a terrible long hop, caught at short backward square. And then there was a full toss that was hit straight back to me. And after that, I just ran through him. Everything hit the mark. I mean, you've got to bowl well to take 9 wickets, but you don't get 9 wickets just because you bowled well. So it was probably about 90% luck and 10% bowling all right.
But the stars very much aligned, sort of thing.
Well, you just... it was almost a psychological thing. After I'd taken sort of 4 for none, 5 for none, the batsman came in as though I was bowling snakes.
Yeah.
So they start to get a bit psychological about it. And then then I think 6 and 7 and 8 all came in the same over. So I had 5 overs, 5 maidens, 8 for none. Fortunately, by this stage, someone else had taken a wicket. So it didn't get to the point about thinking of all 10. And the best bit was at the end when the number 11, who was a complete rabbit, total ferret of a batsman, he was at the non-strikers end. And the number 3, who had about 20, was facing me. And it was the first ball I'd bowled to the number 3 bat, who was quite decent. And he swept the first ball he faced off me to square leg and took a quick single, thus exposing the number 11 to the strike for the rest of the over. And I did him next ball. But it was just... after 5 or 6 wickets, no one celebrates. No one's running around the field. It just becomes surreal.
Well, it is very much a mental game, isn't it? Cricket, more so than any other, and it's what you said there about suddenly once 4 or 5 wickets fall, and I don't know what the opposite phrase of pad rash is, but I sort of call it pad rush, where suddenly everyone's charging around trying to pad up as quickly as they can, and
yeah, I like it, pad rush,
and it collapses in a heap, really. And it sounded like you very much had one of those days.
I mean, towards the end of it, the thing I was most conscious of was having kind of ruined everybody else's day, because the game was over by about 2:30, and other people weren't going to bowl, and I think we had to chase 42 to win it. Easily done. So I became increasingly conscious of depriving other people of their turn to bowl or their opportunity to bat.
Did you consider playing a sort of friendly T10 game afterwards, just to give everyone a... I've actually seen that happen in club cricket before, where it's over so fast, that they have a T20 afterwards as a friendly.
Yeah. I wanted to take another 9 wickets. Then I said, look, we could play a 10 over a side game. I won't bowl, just on the off chance. I mean, if I did bowl, I'd probably get none for 60 or 4 overs or whatever. But no, there was no appetite for it at all. I had well and truly ruined the day for everybody else.
Oh dear. So Shijinku from Qatar says, how popular is cricket in Malta? What are the infrastructure available in Malta to become a cricketing nation? I presume it's maybe got a bit mixed up between his countries and means Iceland. But just give us an overview about what the cricketing setup is in Iceland, because it's not something that many people outside of there might necessarily know a huge amount about.
So it's been running for 20 years. There are 2 domestic clubs named after the 2 largest cities in Iceland, Reykjavik and Kópavogur, and they play tournaments in various formats throughout the year. And the national team travels abroad once a year, worldwide, viruses permitting, of course, and plays club games, club tours for social purposes, and only in the last couple of years has gone abroad to play some international games. So how many players do you need to have 2 clubs? 40 to 50, I should think, is
around
size.
that.
And 1 ground to play on an artificial pitch.
And of course, so for those maybe wondering about where that leaves Iceland in regard to the European Cricket League, which is the Champions League of cricket in Europe, that leaves, at this present time, it's short of the participation and levels that are needed to be cut to get the sort of the tick boxes checked off to then be able to ensure that their champions could go into that competition. But a little birdie's told me that there might be the possibility of a Dream 11 European Cricket Series at some point down the track, maybe sooner than later.
Yes, it's this ingenious idea that, of course, with the European Cricket League, it's really important that all the teams in that festival of cricket should be at a certain standard. So you have your countries participating with their winning teams. They're ICC members. They have a certain number of teams, a certain standard of cricket. But in these strange coronavirus-ridden times, it's this idea, just as you say, a little embryo of a concept that there might be some form of European cricket series run by the European Cricket Network that would enable it to go out to cover domestic T10 tournaments in countries. And because the countries aren't competing their teams against each other, you could go to rather under-strength places like Iceland, and people would get a chance to see T10 cricket from the world's northernmost cricket ground.
You've done a very, very good job of sitting entirely on the fence there. What I would say is that were it to come to Iceland, I assume that we would see you in action, no?
Oh, no.
No?
I find that very difficult to believe. T10, slow off-spin bowler, top speed of 44 miles per hour. I may as well strap myself to a flogging post and give everyone a whip. I mean, what would be the point? If people want to watch people humiliating themselves on national television, they watch the X Factor.
So just to be clear, you haven't retired, but it's more that the T10 format doesn't necessarily lure you in.
Yeah, it's not the case that I have retired. It's the case that certain forms of cricket have retired. I've been sacked, basically. I haven't retired. I haven't gone willingly, but I've been given a not very handsome redundancy package. I'm on furlough.
But I imagine that's from the national team, because obviously when you've only got 2 domestic teams, it's relatively easy to get in the squad because you want to get as many people as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. All it requires is for the left arm spinner to be told by his wife that he has to stay at home and put up some shelves or go to IKEA. I'm in. So Reykjavik Viking. I mean, my bowling average for Reykjavik Vikings is perfectly respectable. What I'm bowling, about take wickets at about 23. Economy of 7 or 8 in T20. I can still do a job for the Vikings.
Now, to steer us away from that domestic potential situation that you offer with an insight into your own goings on, John Howden says, how close are Iceland to joining the ICC? Are clubs and grounds the only stumbling blocks? And is this a goal for Iceland cricket Iceland?
John Howden seems to be pretty informed about how these things work. Yes, John, it's about those 2 ICC regulations. To join the ICC as a bona fide associate nation, you've got to have 2 permanent grounds. Iceland has got just 1, but really no plans for another one at the moment. And you need to have 8 club teams playing each other in a regular competition. And we've had 2 for 20 years. This summer, we're going to have a stab at introducing a 3rd. Okay, so extrapolate from that, John. 8 clubs is a long way away. Everything else, juniors, anti-corruption, drug checking, women's cricket, that's much more achievable. But the stumbling blocks, clubs and grounds.
Well, I guess the issue is, of course, 2 and 8. That's a multiplier of 4 to get to that point, which obviously you'll be so familiar with the maths. But we've talked all about Iceland cricket. We covered that quite comprehensively. But you've had plenty of adventures, both covering the game in broadcast and written roles across other parts of the world. And we were talking about the Dream 11 European Cricket Series, and as is in the title, one of our big backers of that are Dream 11, who offer the chance for people to play with their own customised fantasy teams based on the sides who are in the series out there playing, which is exactly what we had in the one tournament that happened in Spain before coronavirus intervened. And as and when the Dream 11 European Cricket Series happens, we'll resume again, which segues us towards India, where you had this astonishing adventure that ends up with you in a kit and not quite playing, but not a million miles off. Here we go. This is one we prepared earlier.
See, this is the one you can't get so easily. This is the Kings 11 Punjab squad training kit.
Can you just hold that up for us right in the centre of the camera? There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Kings 11 Punjab in the IPL, in the Indian Premier League. Now, if you're a Kings 11...
That one there, I haven't said this before, KL Rahul's kit bag.
Did he? I assume he did give it willingly. We wouldn't advocate any kind of...
He didn't object. Let's put it that way.
Okay. So if you are a Kings 11 fan, get involved in the comments if you want to let us know who your favourite IPL team is. If you could play for an IPL team, which team would it be and why? Now, Kit didn't quite get to play because we have given away earlier that he wasn't quite at that level. But you did almost the next best thing, really. So you're over watching the IPL, covering it in a professional capacity. You get chatting to the Kings 11 Punjab social media guy. Talk us through what happens next and how it ends up with the photos we're about to see.
Well, we hatched this plan. It started off as something not terribly exciting, like some sort of press release about an Icelandic player maybe having a trial with Kings 11 Punjab. But the more we went through our lunch and the more gulab jamuns we ate, we thought, well, no, let's prank the players. So the guy you see in the picture there, Coach Mike Hessen, who was the Kings 11 Punjab boss for 2019, he got in on this big hoax that we were going to play on the Kings 11 Punjab playing squad, that this guy from Iceland, me, would come along, having been discovered in Europe for this new mystery ball called the Vivlith, the back spinner, and possibly get a trial or even a debut for the Kings 11 Punjab. So I was brought by Coach Hessen into the nets to bowl at a number of international stars, or alongside them, Hardus Villian and perhaps Simran Singh, the India under-19 batsman was there, Mujibur Rahman, David Miller, and so
You
forth.
mentioned KL Rahul already as well.
Well, all checking me out as this, strange purveyor of the mystery ball of Vivlith. Not knowing, of course, why would you, that Vivlith is Icelandic for the fool, because it was April the 1st. So that was the Kings 11 Punjab's April the 1st prank on their own squad. And it took about 4 or 5 balls for it to become totally obvious from my bowling that I couldn't possibly be having a real trial. And once they had worked it out, they all decided they would tell the press, the Indian press, that I had been signed and I would be playing in that night's game against the Delhi Capitals in Chandigarh.
So again, let's go for live ball by ball commentary. What happened in those 4 or 5 deliveries as you were figured out?
Well, because it hadn't occurred to me I'd have no chance to practice at all, and I'd been on an aeroplane for the best part of 15 hours coming from Reykjavik to Chandigarh, and so everything. I mean, everything was awful. Full tosses and long hops. But Hessen, who had no reason to believe that I could do any better than that, as soon as I bowled this first terrible, filthy off stump long hop, said, "Oh, that's useful. We could use this. We could use this." And I wanted to say, "No, just wait a few more balls. I could do better than this." But he was cooing and purring over every terrible half tracker I bowled for 4 or 5 balls, while the other players, Mujibur Rahman in particular, because he was the second spinner to Ravi Ashwin, and there was no way he was losing his place, eyeing me suspiciously, thinking, "What? I don't see it. I don't see it." And then off went Hessen to talk to Indian television about his new Icelandic signing. And as soon as his back was turned, Prabhsimran Singh, who'd been in on it and told to make me look good, which was obviously very difficult, as soon as the coach's back was turned, Prabhsimran took me to the cleaners.
And when you say took you to the cleaners, we're talking full on.
Oh yeah, I mean it wasn't embarrassing. It was joyous to have my off-spinny nonsense carted to all parts by an up-and-coming Indian star. And then of course, I had to teach this ball. The coup de grace was that I had to teach this ball, the back spinner, to Ravi Ashwin.
And what did Ravi Ashwin make of receiving tutorials from Kip Harris?
He took it in very good part, and he said to me, all credit to him, "I will bowl this ball, the first ball of my spell, tonight against Delhi Capitals at Mohali," and he did bowl it, and he got Prithvi Shaw out caught behind. So that's my influence on Ashwin.
Are you claiming a sort of part role as an analyst then off that?
No, fatherly role, a mentor, yeah, a mentor. Not an analyst observes, I teach, I lead, I blaze the trail.
How long did it take the media to? Because I know you said that the media for a while, the media, the IPL is known for its hype, and it's not short of becoming a hype train at the best of times, because that's part of the buzz that is Indian cricket, that amazing energy that drives the country forward. What was that bit like? Was there a press interview of you in it? How far did it get?
So the Hindu and the Indian Express, put this story up, and then when they realised it was April Fool joke, they took it down again. But then Satish Menon, the CEO, announced that I would be playing, so they put the story back up again, and then I wasn't announced in the playing 11, so they took the story back down again, because they're terribly serious, the Indian news media, about getting their facts right. So in the end, the third time they thought they'd put it up, but they put this little disclaimer at the bottom saying, "But it is April Fool's Day, so who knows."
So it's a little bit of a hokey cokey in the end. You're in, then you're out. You're in, then you're out. In terms of the story,
Kings 11 they had this mischief that they thought, well, as soon as they took it down, they would just put something else out that suggested, no, it might be true. Brilliantly done.
And what was the game itself like? And just to get to experience that, because the Indian Premier League as a competition, wow! I mean, to be there and see that atmosphere.
Oh yeah, I mean, it is. it is as all people say, just like the cliches. But I really lucked out with the game because it was the game which Punjab beat Delhi Capitals in by a handful of runs, having taken something like 7 wickets for 12 runs, and Sam Curran finished with a hat trick.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible turnaround, even for a 2020 game where the game changes like lightning. Just one of the IPL games for all of the 12 seasons. Yeah, and the atmosphere. Well, you know what it's like.
So I think that is, unfortunately, our time pretty much up with you, Mr. Harris. If anyone's got any final questions for Kip Harris, the Iceland cricket guy, in the comments, now's your time to fire them in. Any last message for the European cricket community, and also just quickly your thoughts on the ECL? I know that, like a lot of people, Pavel Florin particularly caught your eye as a symbolicist of the project.
What you're doing, what the whole ECL is about, it's about grassroots crickets, but at a very sustainable and serious level. Increasingly, the ICC has been very good at creating competitions for national teams at European level around the world, and finding ways to feed them towards, but maybe not totally into, the T20 and the 50 over World Cup. ECL is just cleaning up all the domestic stuff and creating incentives for clubs to grow and to develop and to strengthen by giving them an international club tournament. And, really, until you guys came along, club cricket, in terms of its coordination around Europe, was really piecemeal. One country would invite one club and another club. No one has ever tried to do what you're doing. And so that's why to see it really take off, especially with the native-born cricketers, and Pavel Florin, of course, being the standard bearer for that. I was, as a European cricketer, it was heartwarming. And maybe one day Iceland will have some small role to play in the great staging of the events. But European Cricket Network is what European cricket's been needing for the last 30 years.
Certainly is expanding rapidly. 8 teams at ECL 19, and there was set to be 16 at ECL 20 before it got postponed back a year due to coronavirus. But ECL 21 again will be carrying those 16 teams. Thank you so much for your time and for joining us, Kit. It's been an absolute pleasure to hear your stories of causing chaos in India and then causing chaos with batsmen in Iceland, both for good and bad reasons, depending on the day. We bid you well. Stay safe, stay home, and all of that. And hopefully we'll see you on a cricket field somewhere around Europe in some capacity very soon.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much to Kit Harris for his time. So that was quite an interesting foray into cricket in India and then also in Iceland. We'll head to our next guest, Shahd, in a second. But don't forget about the European Cricket Quiz, www.ecn.cricket. Opens at 6 a.m. on Friday and closes at 6 p.m. on Sunday. In the last couple of weeks, we've had Giles Jameson from the UK win. And then I can announce that our winner from last weekend was Savitad Satfir from Germany, who's our very first female winner. So huge congratulations to her. Get involved on the quiz. Only 6 questions, nothing too onerous. There's a couple of tricky ones, but nothing that you can't handle. And the answers to 2 of the 6 questions will be in our shows this Monday and this Thursday. So something that's used in tonight's show will come up in the quiz, and something from Vinny Sandhu's show on Thursday at 9 p.m. Central European Time here on Facebook will come up in that quiz. So just by having been here, you're giving yourself a much better chance of winning. So it's really worth you playing. And then obviously everyone who gets 6 out of 6, a random winner gets picked out from that. Sponsored by Painter, you can win a lovely pair of cricket spikes of the highest quality from them, our shoe partner. And I can tell you that it is definitely a prize worth winning, because as and when you do get back out on the park, you'll be very glad that you got a lovely new pair of spikes to wear. But now, without any further ado, let's bring in our second guest, who, much like the Brazilian footballers, goes by one name and one name only. I asked her what her name was in terms of pronunciation, first and second name, and making sure we've got across all of our details. And much like Ronaldo or Rivaldo or Virat or these iconic cricketers or footballers or sports people. It was as simple as Shahd. So, good evening, Shahd. Thank you so much for joining us. For those who don't know, Shahd is the voice that you will hear on the European cricket anthem. So, much like Kip Harris, just give us a bit of a background into who are you?
Hello, good evening, Michael. Thank you for having me here today. So I am Shahd, and I come from Syria originally. I've been living in Germany since 7 years almost now. And yeah, I'm studying. I love to sing. I have projects in singing for the future, and I'm here because I got the opportunity to sing the ECL anthem, and that was a great thing. I was really happy doing it.
I know it was a huge collaboration, and Ihsan Latif, who was a huge part of the musical side of that, the musical track, is putting together a fascinating video that takes us through that journey that's going to be played out next week. But you yourself have had a fascinating individual journey in terms of being a Syrian refugee initially, your appearance on the German version of The Voice, and now starting to move towards getting your own album out. But before we go there, I asked Shahd before she came on tonight whether she would be up for singing the anthem live a cappella, maybe putting her on the spot a little bit. And she said straight at the gate, yeah, don't even wait. Like, as soon as you've introduced me, get me in. Let's get your ugly face out of the screen. I'll take the stage and sing the anthem. She might not have quite said all of that. She was a little bit kinder about my appearance than that would suggest. But we're not here for me. We're here to see you sing the anthem. So it's very kind of her to voluntarily, like any good performer, put herself up like that. So I'm going to put myself out of the picture. And for the next few minutes, the stage is very much yours for Shahd to give us an exclusive live. I think it's the first time it's ever been broadcast a cappella.
Yes.
So there we go. No pressure at all. Take it away.
Okay, thank you. So, take a ball, take a bat, smash it hard as far as you can, dream along. Aim for the stars, conquer the game, to be the ECL king. Time to be brave and strong. Let your heart pound with the cheer of the matches on. Take your chance, claim the throne, 'cause ECL King will be crowned. Cricket King will be crowned. Take your chance, claim the throne. Take a ball, take a bat, smash it hard as far as you can, dream along. Aim for the stars, conquer the game, to be the ECL King.
Woo!
Yeah.
That was amazing. It's a moment like this where I wish that we had a studio audience to give that the raucous applause that it deserves. But if you're in the comments and you want to give some feedback about what you've just heard, and hopefully you've enjoyed it, because that is the first time the European Cricket League anthem has ever been performed a cappella. And thank you very much. I'm so happy to go and do it. I barely had to ask you. You jumped at the chance. No, I was just saying you jumped at the chance, and here we go. Abhijit Khan said, super. Very glad you enjoyed that. That's the very first in our 19th episode of the European Cricket Studio, the first time we've had any kind of musical live performance. And I know that with Ihsan Latif knocking about, there might be more to come on that note. And look who's just popped up in the comments. And I was just about to mention Harry Srinivasan, who gives me the perfect segue, because Harry Srinivasan wrote most of those lyrics that you've just sung, and then you chipped in with a few on the side. Now, I've heard a lot from ECL founder Dan Weston, yourself, Harry Srinivasan, Ihsan Latif, about the extensive process that went behind this anthem across continents, across all sorts of working hours to get it done just in time for ECL 19. Tell us about what happened from your perspective.
Yeah, it was actually a very interesting journey. I had a lot of fun, so I think I should start from the beginning. How did I involve in the whole thing? So I used to study in the University of Stuttgart, which is a city in Germany, and Harish was also there. And there were, every year there was this international event where international students present all kinds of art, like singing, playing music, dancing, and acting. So yeah, Hadish was there on that day where I sang with my friends from the dorm. And the cool thing is I sang a mashup, because a lot of us were also Indians, a mashup of a song, like a song from Adele and Ore Piya, the Indian song. And yeah, Harish was there and he heard me. I guess he liked my voice. So I don't know, like actually many years later, that was maybe 2 years later, this whole ECL anthem came up, and Harish is a friend of Daniel Weston. So he contacted me, and they also saw my performance on The Voice of Germany. So yeah, they and that's how we came together.
So you mentioned The Voice.
Yeah.
For, people will be familiar with that format all around the world. The chairs, the spinning chairs. The idea being that you hear the voice without actually seeing the person. What kind of an experience was that like? In terms of, it must have been a great way to put yourself on the map as a singer.
Of course, definitely. Like, it wasn't an easy journey. I actually, when they are auditioning in Stuttgart, in the city where I live, I had an exam at that time and I couldn't attend to the auditions. So I went to Munich, to another city, and I had to sleep over by a friend there so I can audition. That was in 2017. And I went through the first, these things happen, they don't happen on air. These are the auditions before the blind auditions that come on the TV. So yeah, I went through that level. And then there was other auditions in Berlin. So I also had to travel to Berlin, but that time was more luxurious, I would say. Like, we had hotels, we had everything ready for us, and it was cool. A lot of great people, a lot of great singers, and the competition was there. But in general, the whole atmosphere was very friendly. So I liked that. Yeah, and I also, after that audition, there was like this email thing where they pick the best contestants also, and then inform you per email, and that's what happened. And I was very thrilled to know that they took me for the blind auditions. So it was actually a long journey. It was over a few months. And then the big day came in July, I think. We shot the episode. And I went out to blind auditions and I sang Bird Set Free by Sia, which was a hard one, even for me, like at that time. Yeah, it was just amazing.
You've got quite a unique voice. I can't be the first person that's told you that. It really hits you as being something quite different. I guess for you that must be a big advantage in terms of standing out.
I think so. I mean, I don't want to talk about myself. Thank you that you are saying that, but I also hear that from many people sometimes, that it's the tone of my voice that is different, that has this emotional, or like a lot of people say I can give the emotions very well in my voice, if you understand. Yeah.
Because listening to that anthem And I suppose that's the other thing. You put all of this amazing effort, and we're going to have a look at some more photos from behind the scenes as we chat about it, with the team to get it together in time. But am I right in thinking that you weren't actually at La Manga to see it be sort of shown everywhere? Your voice was everywhere. You did all the hard work, but then didn't get to enjoy that moment because you weren't there live. But I'm sure that's something we can sort in the future.
Yeah, hopefully.
Because it's quite haunting, and I mean that in a good way. It really sort of sticks with you and
definitely
gives you a sense of the gravity of what's going on. So, what was the collaborative process like with these jokers then? What were those moments like, and the hard work and the struggles because I know before that tournament it was one of Dan's top priorities to get it done just in time, and you guys managed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so actually the first steps of the whole working together was not that stressful. We were mostly meeting online because each one of us lived somewhere different, and we had, for example, some meetings online and some songwriting sessions where I got to put also like a little bit of my character in the anthem, and made it in a way that it'll also suit my voice. And that was amazing that I got this chance, because often when you're a singer and you have this this task that you say you have to sing this and that's everything, you can't change everything, and that was actually a big opportunity that I had a chance to make it also similar to me. And this only stressful one was when we had to go to Berlin to record.
Yes, I've heard about this.
Yeah, big flight, and it was fun. I mean, you know, the stress part is always the part that remains of the story, and it was fun. It was definitely worth it. The cool thing, I also have some people I know in Berlin, so I got to meet them and spend some time with them. And in the studio, the atmosphere was great. Even though we stayed like the whole day, nonstop, no little breaks, and like I think we stayed late till 10 or 11 at night, but yeah,
it's
we
sort of
fun.
It came across as almost being like one of those political summits where they meet to try and do a deal. It's like nobody's leaving until the anthem is finished, and you got it all done. Have you managed to, have you become more interested in cricket because of this? Did you watch any of last summer and kind of hear your voice and have that moment where it's like, wow, this is really real. That's my voice and the world is hearing it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, definitely I saw that moment. But in general, I had like zero idea about cricket. So I would say that this definitely made me more interested in cricket, and I know more about it. Funny fact, for example, when we were writing the lyrics, take a ball, take a bat, smash it hard as far as you can. And there were also some switch. There was switch lyric in the text, but that we changed because it was not musical enough for singing. Yeah, but I was like, what switch? Why are you? What does that mean? And yeah, now I know that it's part of the cricket game. It's how it's played, and the bat, how it's shaped, and that you really need to smash the ball. I knew all of that just through writing the lyrics of the anthem.
The gospel of cricket spreading around Europe. I can hear Daniel Weston smiling from wherever he's watching this as I say it. What about the future outside of, obviously, you did a fantastic job as part of that ECL anthem team, but you've said that you've got something out now. You're not someone that's too active about plugging it, because a lot of people would have already got the details out in the first 20 minutes to make sure people knew. But your song Unreal is available on Spotify. People can go and find that, and so they should. So firstly, what's the best way for people to keep up with Shahd, as an individual in terms of your projects, and also I'm hearing rumors that an album is the next dream.
Not quite an album, it's an EP, so it's a small album. First thing to my song. In after 1 year of The Voice of Germany, I finally got to know someone, and we produced a song together. It's called Unreal. I wrote it, and it's about the struggle in life. It's about when you try and you don't give up, but still something is not clicking for you. It's not your moment yet, and you feel sometimes that you're not quite there, but you still believe that, and you still have the hope. And I'm really proud of it. It was because it's my first song alone is enough fact for me to love that song. It is on Spotify, it's on iTunes, it's everywhere. So you can find me by the name Shahd on YouTube. I have some covers on YouTube. I'm being active on TikTok lately.
Yeah,
because it's a good platform. And this is my thing. Like, I don't like to just post photos. It's not my thing. But when I can present myself with a video and talk to my audience and make fun stuff or sing, this is really I'm into that, and I can do that on TikTok, on Instagram. I try to be more active. So you can find me.
Well, I'm sure people will after watching this. And I guess is one benefit of lockdown for you somewhat that your main skill and pursuit is something that you can still keep doing. You can sing wherever you are. It doesn't really no lockdown. Obviously, in the greater world scheme of things, it's an awful thing, and we're not your place for official kind of hard-hitting news on what's going on with coronavirus. But in terms of your personal life, I guess as a singer, has it influenced you a huge amount in a professional sense?
Actually not, because I'm in this phase right now in my career where I am planning. I have a project, and of course the lockdown, I'm just not maybe able to do recording sessions or songwriting sessions with the people I'm working with, but we have other solutions like online sessions, or we just we send each other the whole time like recordings of ideas, and it is working like that. And as I said, I'm working on my EP now, and we already finished the first song. By we, I said because I'm working with my colleagues. So we finished the first song, and we are working on the second one. I'm really thrilled. It'll be a big thing for me, huge thing, because it's my first EP. Yeah.
You've referred also to studying. So what exactly is the plan in regard to education as well? Because you've got the singing going on, and then you've got schooling at the same time. So what's the life balance at the moment almost?
Yeah, actually there is a backstory for that. And it's a little long to tell, but shortly maybe I can say that I think like to become successful in the domain of singing and be able to live from that and do it full time, that is the dream of everyone that can maybe sing and have that dream. But it doesn't always happen for everybody, and that's why I also study. I'm studying audiovisual media. And I'm actually still, I have found this thing for me where I can connect it to music, connect my study to music. And that's why I'm studying in the domain of audio. We call it audio technique.
Yeah.
I think audio in the exactly. And that way I can keep working with music. I'm learning about mixing. We have to mix a song every week, so it's a good practice for me. I can evolve also my abilities to write songs, and I can still be in the studio and with other producers or with other singers, and it is still something that I like. Yeah,
and I can imagine it's, as you alluded to, it's nice to have that synergy of one thing helping the other and vice versa.
Yeah.
We left almost the most dramatic part of your story until last because of starting from ECL and working out backwards. But in 2013, you fled with your family from the Syrian war to come to Germany.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, where to start with that? But what was that experience like, and how did it change you as a person, as a young person in particular?
Yeah. So in 2011, the revolution started, and then things got out of hand. And as all of you know, maybe it turned to a crisis and to a war inside of the country. So we, as many other families, needed a safe place to stay. I have seen all of that, like the bombing. I have some relatives who also passed in during that war, either with gunshots or because of bombing on the neighborhood. So we just wanted to go to a safe place. We tried going to Egypt first, but we couldn't find a place to start a new future for us. We struggled a little trying to find the best place to be. Fortunately, I have family here. It's like my stepsister and my stepbrother, who has been living here for so long, and they tried to bring us here in a legal way, so we don't have to go through this, go through the land or through the sea. And she tried many, like my stepsister, she tried to bring us many times by making an invitation, and we would apply for asylum here. Yeah, in Germany, exactly. So it didn't happen for many times, but then there was this law at that time, or I don't know if you can call it a law, but the government decided to bring 5,000 Syrian refugees at that time in 2013. And especially the ones that have families and have tried to come here before and were rejected. So in that way, we got the news, and we could take the visas from Lebanon, and we came to Germany. That's how it happened. So I would say we were actually super lucky, because other people who had no relatives, they had to struggle. And I know many of them, like many relatives that came from Syria to Turkey to, I'm sorry, I'm confused between German and Griechenland is, I think, yeah.
No, it's okay. It's I
I
can't
hope
talk
that's
at all. I speak one language and that's it. So no need
yeah,
to apologize
Greek.
to anybody.
I hope I'm saying the name of the country right. Yeah, and that's it, through Europe, and then reach to Germany. And some of them are in Spain, some of them are in Lebanon, some of them are in Jordan, some of them are in Saudi Arabia. Like, we are really spread all around the world. And this is the same thing with most of the Syrian families nowadays.
And what was that process like of assimilating into Germany and learning the language and becoming part of very much a big part of Germany?
It was fun. I liked it. It was new. It was hard at many points, but I think there are other people that I meet who had the exact same conditions but are somehow struggling more than me. I think it has to do that I already have some people here, so I feel connected to the country somehow. This is a thing. And because I also like adventure, I like new starts, and I like challenges in life. And I still have that feeling. I still, for example, don't feel like I would stay in one city my whole life. I would still move. So, and that was a motivation for me to work on myself and try to integrate as much as I can, and learn the language, because learning the language was the first and most important step in the whole integration process for me. And I did that in like around 1.5 years of just intensive German courses every day until I passed the exam that I need to get to the university. And that's, yeah, that's how it was for me.
And I know for a lot of people, their national identities rather than identity sort of gets crossed between different things. Would you say you feel first and foremost German now, or a mix of different places? Because you mentioned how your family are scattered all over the globe.
Mm, I mean, actually, I'm too old to say that I can change my identity. I still say, of course, I'm Syrian, and I will always be Syrian, and I'm proud of that.
Cool.
We need to also show this positive image of ourselves and our country, because people only hear, you know, the bad things from the media, and hear about terrorism and hear about bombings, and that is not the whole truth. Yeah, that happened, but it's only part of it, which happened only recently. So I like that I can spread this image about my country and about myself, in a positive way. And of course, on top of that, I feel part of the German society because I am surrounded by German people. I am studying in German language in a German university, and I have German colleagues and friends, and as I said, family, relatives. So it's like I have the best of both worlds, you could say.
Yeah, and it's very much that diversity, which is a strength.
Yes, yes. Diversity is very important for me in life. Like I can really not imagine having only Syrian friends now. I need that diversity in my life.
And that was, of course, what ended up bringing you on the mad old journey, ending up taking an interest in a sport that you at the time didn't know existed, then ending up putting your voice on a track that's going to be round the world for one of the biggest developing tournaments covering that sport. So it's been quite a journey, hasn't it?
Yes, definitely. I'm so delighted being here, and having to do this was definitely a great opportunity for me, for my career, and for me as a singer.
And of course, many more chapters to be written, no doubt. But for those of you maybe watching on catch up or watching live now, who've heard that haunting voice on the anthem and always wondered, I wonder who that is. Well, there you go. Shahd herself unveiled and revealed with that fantastic a cappella performance earlier, which I'm sure plenty of people will be reliving and enjoying. It was a delight to be here and hear it live. Thank you so much for your time and telling your brilliant story that has a little bit of everything in it, and hopefully at some point soon. I said to Kit, we'll see him on a cricket field soon. Maybe we'll see you up in the commentary box watching a game of cricket alongside us and continuing to take in a bit more and more as the time goes on of the game. I know that Roger Finer, our CEO at the European Cricket League, is a Swiss German, and having been involved at FIFA and then getting involved in the European Cricket Project as a novice, is now sort of working his way up to being something close to an expert novice, if that's a phrase almost, and is kind of working his way up the grades. So I'm sure we'll see you maybe doing something like that relatively soon. But for now, thanks so much for being with us, Shahd.
Thank you so much for having me here. It was really fun, and yeah, I hope that I will be on the field one day and hear my voice there at the end of the game. Yeah, it would be awesome.
Brilliant. So remember to check her out across social media channels. That single is out on Spotify, Unreal, as we discussed earlier. But for now, thanks so much, Shahd.
Thank you. And have a nice evening.
Have a nice evening to you too. Stay home and stay safe. So that was Shahd telling us all about the European Cricket League anthem, but also her amazing story. And that's us out of time for this week. Before we go, don't forget to download our new app. Search for the European Cricket Network, the digital destination, easy for me to say, for cricket in Europe. That will cover you on everything across the European Cricket League, the Dream 11 European Cricket Series, and the European Cricket Studio. So very much the place to be. Download it on the App Store, get it on Google Play. I've been having a look around myself, and particularly when we get live cricket back, that'll be a great way to keep track of all of the live cricket going on across Europe. Also, of course, Mondays and Thursdays now, 9 p.m. Central European time, here on Facebook Live. Vin Sandhu will be here with the Maximo Show on Thursday. Timing's up on your screen now, 8 p.m. in London, just gone midnight in Delhi, and so on and so forth. Doing it from Australia, of course. I swear his apartment seems to have its own time zone, such as his dedication for European cricket, that he's up in the middle of the night to bring us that with his exciting one-on-one feature as well, where you can join in from the chat. But for now, from episode 19 of the European Cricket Studio, it's good night and goodbye.